I think we're live. I think we are live. Okay, we're live. I'm still working out this technology thing, and that's just how it works, and that's how casual this little conversation with my friends is. All right, I don't know how many people are tuning in. We can't see, but I'm imagining quite a few people. I just want to recap. So the reason we're doing this, the reason Vala decided we would do this, is because somebody said to me, "You've got some really fascinating friends. You've met some really amazing people. Why don't you have a couple of conversations with them during lockdown and just get them in and have a chat?" And the fact of the matter was, I was probably going to end up Zooming and Skyping and catching up with everybody anyway. So they said, "Why don't you just do it in front of an audience?" So we thought it would be quite funny. Anyway, we did a brilliant one last week. We had a lovely chat last week. This week, I've got my absolutely spectacular mate Emma, and I'm gonna embarrass Emma very quickly just by reading a biography of Emma that I found online, which is 95% the Emma that I know, and then 5%. I haven't got no idea where this has come from. So, in case you've never heard of Emma, and everybody has heard of Emma. Emma Lawton, creative director and startup founder. We're going to find out all about that. She lives in London. Emma was diagnosed with the degenerative neurological condition Parkinson's at the age of 29. Since her diagnosis, she has also become an award-winning charity campaigner. Go, Emma. Spokesperson for the condition, which again, we're going to talk a little bit about, but we're not here just to talk about Parkies today. Writer, blogger. I'm going to add adventurer in there. Ooh. And taskmaster, because I want us to talk about last year because it was brilliant. In 2016, Emma launched her book, Dropping the P-Bomb. It's an honest account of her first year after diagnosis. She's never met a sequin she didn't like. 90% of her wardrobe is unworn ball gowns.
True fact.
It's what the internet told me, so it must be true.
The internet is always correct.
Emma, thank you for coming and talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
Before I ask you a couple of questions, what's the ball gown situation?
Someone once told me I was a human glitter ball when I shake, when I did a talk on stage. So I started buying sequins a lot. And most of my wardrobe has just become sort of like gowns and stuff that I never wear. I never go to any balls ever. I've never been to a ball in my life, I don't think. But I love a ball gown.
Nobody goes to balls.
Everyone does, yeah, no.
Do they?
No, I think so. I just need to start wearing them for every day, I think. Just rocking up in a ball gown.
I'll go very quickly, and I won't interrupt you on everything, even though it's me and you know I do it. I've got quite an amusing story about a ball. About 5 or 6 years ago, might be longer actually, me and Mrs. T were invited to a black and white ball.
Okay.
And we got the invite, and it said black and white ball. I don't know what possessed us. We interpreted it somehow as fancy dress and went as a vicar and a nun. Because it was the only black and white outfits that the only black and white fancy dress we had. So we turned up in a vicar and a nun, and everyone else was in black tie.
Oops.
So there you go. That was good. Anyway, sorry.
Good work.
So we know about your ball gown obsession now, which people will never have heard of. So I know you really well. We've got to know each other brilliantly over the last couple of years. It's been a total joy. I have to just go back to you at 29. I'm going to ask you. I just want to, because some people haven't heard this story, and it touched the nation in Big Life Fix, and that's how we first kind of crossed paths. Even though I knew other people on the show and not you. Just after that, I mean, that's when you really kind of got into the spotlight. Just what happened then? So go back to, if you don't mind, just go back to the days of diagnosis. What was going on?
So I'd probably been feeling a bit weird for about a year. I had this kind of strange feeling in my arm that I wasn't kind of shaky at that point. I didn't have a tremor or anything, but I just sort of had like a stiffness in my arm that just felt weird all the time. And I was working as a graphic designer, and using a mouse kind of makes your arm feel a bit funny sometimes. I basically decided I just got a trapped nerve or something, and it kind of got worse and worse and worse. And actually, a healthcare professional said to me, a friend of the family said, "You don't swing your arm when you walk. You're kind of holding your arm a bit funny." So I kind of went to the doctors and got it checked out. And they sent me to a neurologist, and I had no clue at all what a neurologist was. So I kind of wasn't really knowing what I was expecting. And they did a ton of brain scans and said, "You've got Parkinson's," which I definitely wasn't expecting at 29. They told me some other things they thought it might be. So actually, when they said Parkinson's, that sounded like the lesser of many evils, because actually I wasn't going to die from it. I'd die with Parkinson's rather than die from it. So it kind of seemed like the better option. Yeah. Not sure whether I agree that now, but it's definitely been a learning curve.
That's bad though, isn't it? Like 29. Do you think it's one of those things that people think is an old person's disease?
Oh yeah, totally, because it mostly is kind of older men. It's normally older men, but there's actually lots of us that have it that are younger. There's an amazing, thriving community of people that are just out there doing incredible things. That I know a guy that was diagnosed when he was 8 years old, diagnosed with Parkinson's. And he's doing so amazingly. You know, he's an incredible guy. So yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an eye opener for me. And actually, I've got to say this on air. Emma's helped me out directly and indirectly a huge amount, because when my father-in-law was diagnosed with Parkinson's, like even families and extended families of people just go like, well, what do we like? We deal with all of this. And so having such an optimistic friend who also has the condition has helped me greatly understand it. And also, you know, and other, like you said about the community, like Matt Eagle, big shout out to Eagles. Go and find him online. I might get him on actually. We'll do.
You definitely should.
Yeah, he's another guy that just blows.
He's a great character.
And so so it's been incredible. Let's get off that one, because that's not what we talk about.
It's boring.
Just thought I'd get it out of the way so that anyone or either drunk or just falling over or something like no, she's got a condition.
Right, good, thank you.
Come on in. 7 weeks of lockdown. What's been happening?
So I basically did a daring escape probably 2 days before we went into lockdown. I kind of preempted it a little bit, and I live normally on my own in London, and I thought, I don't think I want to be on my own through this. I don't know how long it's going to go on for, and I basically kind of escaped to my parents' house in the country, and it was probably the best decision I've ever made, because, you know, I have company here. It's a nice place to be. There's a garden to sit in when I'm not doing work and I have time to sit in the garden, which is very rarely. But I just, I feel safer here, and it kind of feels like there's people here that I know, and Mum can go shopping for things, and it was a really good move. I'm really glad that I did it. But I've got friends that are on their own in London, and they're really finding it hard. So
that sucks. I know people that are on their own. We've got members of staff that are kind of working on their own, and I can't. I mean, that for me is
it's intense.
Yeah, I couldn't comprehend that. I really couldn't comprehend that.
And also, as I left London, my ceiling started leaking from the flat above. So I was like, do I stay? Do I go? What do I do? Basically, there was a leak in the flat above, and I didn't want to leave my flat in a flood. So it was a bit of a dramatic situation, but thankfully my upstairs neighbours sorted everything out, so they were brilliant. No, big shout out to them.
Hey, everyone get out of London, we're locking it down. Drip, drip, drip.
Drip, 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 drip.
Goodness me. Are you missing London?
Yeah, I do miss it. I think it's a bit of a crazy place at the moment, like everywhere else is. I think it's nice to be here. I think the timing is right for me, because obviously not obviously, people probably don't know, but I'm launching a business, and so it's annoying to not be with my co-founders, because actually 3 of us in separate places is really hard. But I think I've actually got the headspace to think about the business here, whereas when I'm in London, I was worrying too much about everything else, whether I could go shopping, whether I was going to catch it. You know, it's actually a bit more comfortable here. I can relax a bit more.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. I mean, listen, I've got the view from London, and it's a bit weird. Hi from London, over in Bedfordshire, or Buckinghamshire, wherever you are. It's Bedfordshire. I'll get there eventually. It's a bit surreal. It's kind of. It was a bit ghost towny for a few weeks.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Creeping back into some kind of normality, the new normal, as everyone keeps talking about. But yeah, it's been a bit strange. I'm just reading
because I'm not there, that's why.
Well, exactly. Wiping up our day with your
sequins
and bright coloured hair. But yeah, no, it's good. Well, I'm just happy that you're somewhere pleasant for this strange period.
Thank you.
What's the funniest thing that's happened to you in lockdown?
It's probably something that actually happened kind of early on before lockdown. Actually, Mum and I had a situation where we had my computer, which is a big kind of amazing touchscreen jobby that's worth quite a lot of money, and we were trying to work out how to get that downstairs to the car, and we had a bag of toilet rolls and we had this, and it was like, which do we put down and leave behind, because actually one is actually now way more valuable than the other. And we had this moment between us, and it was like, what do we do? What if someone steals it? And then we're like, well, actually they're probably more likely to steal the toilet rolls than the computer right now. That's probably my moment of kind of really giggling, to the point of, I think it's because I was quite scared, I kind of giggled for far too long.
Somebody told me there was a really good trick. I either read it online. It was either a meme or it was, somebody's done it, which was this whole idea of like printing pictures of toilet rolls on A4 paper and then sticking them on windows and houses, so that when people walk past, it looked like you had kind of, massive stockpiles of toilet rolls. That was brilliant. Of all the things for us to run out of, toilet rolls, and you probably did have that moment where you considered the toilet rolls over your computer.
I did, really did. Mum was like, I was kind of worried for the safety of the toilet rolls over the quite expensive computer.
People are strange though, aren't they?
People are strange.
People are peculiar, and sort of life has been a bit strange in social lockdown as well. Fighting over toilet paper and flour. Flour?
Why is suddenly everyone baking and going to the toilet so much more? I don't really understand. Look, coronavirus causes neither of those things, as far as I'm aware. So
Charlie and Phoebe, my kids, they said, because the other one that ran out quite quickly into lockdown was eggs. So somehow South London ran out of eggs, and Charlie and Phoebe wanted to know whether the chickens had all got COVID and died.
Oh,
that was kind of kids' logic. Do chickens get coronavirus? And we were like,
maybe.
No. Wow,
who knows?
But they were starting to piece it together. It's been funny. It's been amusing. I'm not going to dwell on the lockdown stuff too much, because I want to get. We've got bags of time, but I do want to get into some of your brilliant adventures. I just I'm interested in your opinion on all this kind of stuff, because you're, mega smart about everything. And do you feel like the government? We won't go into politics too much, but do you think it's been handled well? Has all this situation been handled well, badly? Even from
I don't think it's been great, to be honest. I think it's been a lot of mixed messages, and I think because of that, as a country, we're quite sort of stubborn, I think, as a general rule, and I think because of that, people are sort of slightly making what they want of the rules. And I think because other countries seem to have done it better, they've been a bit kind of more strict from the beginning, and I think it was a bit kind of washy-washy at the beginning, and no one was really sure what to do. And I think I don't know, I'm not really sure we've done a fantastic job of it, and I'm really worried about the care homes. That really concerns me. I know everyone's worried about the care homes, but I just think it's quite a horrible thing, and I just think it should be considered at the same level as the kind of the NHS stuff, really.
We've been dealing with quite a lot of care home situations, and they are taking appointments for care homes, and they got left behind a little bit, didn't they?
Really did, yeah. Everyone's suddenly going, oh, we probably should do something about the care homes now, and it's just knocking the stable door after the horse has bolted, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and I've been poring over the data every day, because we've been uploading it, looking at it, and prepping, getting ready. And our numbers in this country are
really scary.
Frightening compared to some of the other countries. Denmark have pretty much reopened or reopened. Other countries, we've got partners in Israel. They're all kind of heading back to school and opening offices, and I get their kind of bigger communities. But we've handled something really badly. Oh well, I'm sure we'll look back on it as fondly as 2020. The year of lockdown. It's just going to be a
strange one, isn't it, to try and look back on? I think it's going to be a really weird thing. Especially kind of growing a business in this time. It's a bizarre experience.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to ask you. Right. So I've got one more question, and then I'm going to ask you about your business, actually.
Okay.
I'm super excited to find out more about this. But again, because of the nature of the business that I now run, I'm super interested in everything kind of like primary health related. But what my question for you is, like, somebody that's living with a chronic condition, what's the impact of this COVID lockdown, lifestyle change? Like, what's the impact been on you?
I have to say it's probably actually made life a little bit easier, because I don't have to travel anywhere. And actually, I always feel, people are always incredibly supportive of me, and trying not to get me to travel when I don't need to. But I always feel like they're missing out, and I feel like now everyone's missing out. So we're kind of all on the same page a little bit. And I think I don't know. I feel like physically things are a little bit easier in that sense. I'm kind of worried about when I then start going out again. It could be a bit more difficult for my feet to not be cramping and for things to be a bit difficult. But I mean, my medications all come on time. I've not had any problems with things like that. I mean, I do worry about the kind of stress element of things because I don't think any of us know how this is going to affect our mental health. I think, I thought I was okay, and then I hit a bit of a wall about a week or so ago. I just kept waking up crying, but I didn't know why. And I was having obviously horrible nightmares or something. And my sleep's really suffering because I think I'm sort of taking a lot of the worries to bed with me and not actually dealing with it properly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not having time to kind of process them during the day. So I think but I mean, I feel very lucky that with the program that I'm on, the business builder program, we get kind of coaching and things. So actually that's kind of helpful. And my team we have kind of morning check-ins and stuff on how we're feeling as well as what we're doing. So I think that stuff's really important. That's the thing I think I worry about most for people is the mental health side of things, and actually whether people are actually going to, I don't know, how are people going to feel about going outside when we're suddenly allowed to? Is everyone going to want to go outside? Or I think I'm going to feel a bit scared about it, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's going to be two camps, isn't there? Well,
yeah, people that run outside screaming excited.
Yeah, having kind of COVID parties, and then there's going to be people that are kind of worried about going out. Yeah, I've got two brilliant guests next week actually, who are kind of big mental health startup champions, Rob and Zilia, and we're going to have a long conversation about that, I'm sure. But with all the stuff that I've been doing and have done over the years in mental health, well, that's the one thing that really worries me.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see. I mean, I hope not. Touch wood, but like a rise in PTSD and things like that. I mean, from doctors and nurses on the front line. That's going to be really
horrendous,
troubling. So I really want the country to get behind that, but also the health service that's done by and large a brilliant job to really prep for that, because that's going to be huge, isn't it?
Yeah. It does worry me because I think I think a lot of people are kind of almost just getting through this and getting I kind of worry about what's going to happen afterwards. It's sometimes that feeling of kind of adrenaline almost, that you just keep kind of going on and on and on and you push through, and then I always find at the end of something, not something like this because I've never experienced anything like this, but bad things like when I was diagnosed and stuff like that, I got through it, and then maybe about 2 months after I suddenly just went, God, that was really scary, and sort of had a bit of a meltdown. And that seems to always be how things work for me. I kind of get through it, I power through, and then I have a bit of a from a distance kind of meltdown about how scary it was and how horrible it was as a time to get through it. So,
God, that's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that as well. Is that thing that makes us human, like surviving, kind of powers us through quite a lot of stuff. So everyone at the moment could very well just be like powering.
Oh God, yeah, totally. It's not a normal situation for anyone. And I think a lot of people are kind of in a situation where they've maybe been furloughed, and so it kind of feels like a holiday for the first couple of weeks, and then financial problems start kicking in. And I think it's going to be very difficult for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Well, anyway, let's go on to something cheerful.
Yeah.
So away from the dreaded COVID, and it is important. It is important, and actually, it's bringing people together, and it's doing some really good stuff.
That's great stuff.
I want to find out more about this brilliant new zinc flavored adventure that you've done. I know a little bit because we've been talking about it, but it seems to just evolve almost as quickly as society at the moment. Start from the beginning. What is this zinc thing, and the thing done because of the zinc thing?
So zinc is basically a mission-led VC kind of incubator program. So basically they pick X amount of people per year. I think there's 40 of us on the program. I can't remember now. It feels like a long time ago that I started it. But they basically selected kind of those of us that applied from all different backgrounds. We had doctors, we've got kind of engineers, we've got data scientists, myself, an ex-creative director, people from all different walks of life, different ages, and we all kind of came together on this program to solve the problem of kind of the aging population. How can we help people have a kind of better 5 years at the end of their life? And we've all approached that in such a different way. It's really interesting to see the companies that are coming out of it. People are looking at things like dementia and hearing, but we're kind of looking at sort of the behavioural elements of friendship and being lonely and how you kind of connect people, especially in a time like this. And it's just been a really interesting process. I've met 2 incredible co-founders who are awesome human beings. I love them to pieces. And I'm really sad that I'm separated from them at the moment, because it's a lot to go through when you're on your own and you're trying to build a business with 2 other people that are in London in separate homes. It's definitely a challenge, but we've been working together probably formally since the kind of new year, and we incorporated on April Fool's Day of all days. So our certificate from Company's House says we're an April Fool. It looks like a joke, but we're an actual real company.
Amazing. When did we do our escape room? Because that was a while ago, wasn't it?
That was a while ago, yeah.
That
had I just been accepted, or had I just started, or something?
We were talking about it, weren't we? So I think it was like it must have been last autumn.
Yeah, it was autumn. I started in September, I think.
Because you were sort of going, "Oh, I'm not sure. Like, is it something I should do?" And I was going, "Yeah, go on, do it." and then kind of similarly, I was going, "I've got this bizarre new job." It was kind of strange, and time seems to go at the moment. But what I really love about Zinc, and then we're going to talk about exactly what the business that you set up is. But what I really love about this whole, at the moment, we seem to be going through this incredible, like purpose-driven technology revolution, like tech for good and stuff is really now being taken seriously, and kind of conscious capitalism. And you don't have to be, you can make money doing amazing things and change society. And
you're allowed to make money if you're doing something good.
And I keep bumping into B Corp businesses and profit with purpose as a thing. So I just think what Zinc did when they started was just brilliant, because it really smart. We're a VC and we're going to train these amazing people to be business people, do this properly, but actually everything we produce is going to have something valuable for society, which is
exactly. It's a fantastic program. The people involved are amazing, and there's a whole kind of group of fellows who are sort of experts that help us, and we have kind of access to a lot of people that will come kind of. I mean, the first couple of weeks was almost like the kind of most intense learning experience of my life. I mean, it was kind of more intense than university, but I don't think I learned anything or did anything. So I went to any lectures, but it was kind of just information just coming from all directions. And then we all went away and kind of disseminated that and came up with something different. It's just a really interesting thing, I think. So, but
do you go in with like no ideas? Or do you go in
You're not supposed to. The idea is to go in with, whereas other kind of things like that, you'd go in with a business idea probably already. You basically go in to kind of meet people to join up with who want to do something similar to you. And you kind of, I went in wanting to solve the technology divide of kind of older people not feeling comfortable using technology.
Okay.
And I kind of diverged from that, went on to other things, and sort of ended up looking at loneliness and isolation, because I think it underpins everything that we were looking at on the program. And actually, we've sort of ended up in a place where the stuff we're kind of trying to design is kind of human powered. It sounds kind of like hamsters on a wheel. It doesn't mean to sound like that, but I mean, it's technology supporting humans rather than kind of it being all about the technology. So I like that.
That's cool. And actually, do you know what happened? I think there's been a bit of a flip. And without hooting my own horn, I did write about it in the book, so I have sort of
exactly.
I've written it down. I'm not just saying this because it's in print. But I think for like 15 or 20 years from kind of .com boom, a lot of it was technology driven stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of 5 or 10 years ago, people really started to go, actually, we should just do people focused.
Yeah.
And then the technology bit is somewhat,
it's a supporting role. I used to work for a startup, kind of as a designer, and they were doing kind of insurtech stuff. And the amount of times we'd go into kind of meetings with big kind of heads of corporations who'd say, "I want a chatbot," and we'd say, "Why do you want a chatbot?" And they'd say, "I don't know." They were like, "Well, do you want to come back to us when you do know?"
Exactly, because they've got one. They've got one.
Yeah.
We want one of those. Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? That's mad, isn't it? So More Human is the name of Limited.
Limited company, yeah. Proper, I'm an actual legit director grown up. Sorry, I've got a really slippery chair. Like, I've got 2 cushions on it. It's making me slide down. I keep having to fidget myself up. That's what I'm doing. I'm not falling off.
Are you still there, Emma? Emma?
There we go.
So go on, give me the elevator pitch. Give me the zinc fueled elevator pitch. What's more?
Oh gosh. So basically, we started kind of looking, it's not really an elevator pitch, it's probably going to be longer than that. I'll give you the slightly longer version.
We're not in a rush.
We started looking at kind of loneliness and isolation in older people and trying to work out how we could reach kind of the most isolated and the most lonely. And then having looked into it, we kind of noticed that actually there was people already doing that. The people were actually already out there helping those people and trying to reach those people. And what if we helped them instead? And that's people that have set up their own communities already. So maybe people that were in that situation or felt themselves on the kind of slippery slope towards loneliness and actually did something about it. And a lot of these people actually didn't expect to become community leaders. They just wanted to be someone that maybe was going to hang out with a bigger group of friends. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And now they've got, 6,000 members on Meetup. And you just think, actually, if we can support those people and help them increase their reach and empower them, then actually we've got more arms that we can kind of do stuff with. It's not just us doing it. So we're looking at community in its very varying senses. So everything from kind of geographical communities where there's kind of a leadership group of people, or now, quite interestingly, these COVID groups, these kind of COVID mutual aid groups. What's going to happen with those in the future? Where do they go next? So people have got that taste of kind of having some kind of power in their community, of actually being able to have a say and make change. And what will happen at the end of COVID? Will those people go back quietly into society, or will they actually want to carry on having that kind of power? So can we help empower them even more? Everybody from them to people that have their own activity groups that are kind of organising events for people. So we're looking at how we can help those people monetize what they're doing, because I think actually at the moment things have lost their value online. People are offering a lot of things online for free because they feel they have to, but actually a lot of practitioners and people like that still have to pay their rent and still have to live. And we need to kind of bring the value of things back up, I think, online, if it's going to be a long-term thing. So we're looking at that and kind of how we can help ease some of the stuff that, some of these community leaders spend about 57% of their time on admin, which is just a bit of a crying shame when they set it up originally to be like a sociable person and hang out with people. If we can help them take that off their load, then they can actually spend more time doing what they do best. So that's the slightly longer elevator pitch.
No, it's great. But what's the so how do you know how is it going to manifest?
At the moment, we've sort of, in the short term, because we've had to kind of do a bit of a U-turn, because we were looking at kind of doing things in person, and obviously then that sort of got kind of shaken to the ground. So we've started looking at kind of what we can do to help support people in a virtual sense. So we kind of temporarily set up kind of a virtual venue, which is something we're using to help support communities to hold events and help them virtualize what they normally do in a kind of digital capacity, so they can still do stuff for their communities. And we've had, I think, about 1,300, 1,400 people come through our doors since we've been doing it. So we've only been doing it probably since the end of March, I think now. So it's quite crazy. We've had a lot of people come through. It's been busy. We've got volunteers working for us who are basically doing the kind of hosting of those venues and stuff. We basically try to make video calls more human, to use the
Right.
But we're learning from that all the time and seeing what people need. So we think probably eventually our long-term product will be kind of a suite of tools or software that will help community leaders to manage their communities in a way that is, they've got kind of the finger on the pulse of what's happening and can actually, utilize people within their community to step up and things like that. So we're looking at different things and like how they can monetize it and things like that. So we're basically kind of testing a lot of kind of things at the moment on these groups. We've got a brilliant group of people, of clients that we can test it on. So it's really exciting.
That's mega. And it's like, the irony of us talking about new roles and changes last autumn, and then me managing a health care company in the middle of a pandemic, and you set up a, community support system in a moment where community is probably more important now than it's been since, in living memory, really. And
we're really exciting. So we're looking at kind of trying to do something over the next few weeks, hopefully with a volunteer week, and looking at how we can link people up across the country in a way that is COVID friendly. So a lot of events have been noticed have been cancelled at the moment. A lot of kind of events across the country have been cancelled on really important occasions. And we think people still want to celebrate. So actually, how do we bring people together in that way? So we're looking at some stuff around that as well, which is really fun.
And what's the what have you discovered since you've been doing this then? So what's the insight into community that maybe you were surprised about, or you found, or you stumbled across and went, oh, I didn't know that?
And the thing that probably surprised me the most is the fact that people who are, it's a stupid thing when I say it out loud now, but people who are isolated and lonely often don't want to be helped. They want to help others. It's like we could refer to it as pull, not push. And actually the fact that if we say to people, do you want to help maybe design an event for other people to come to, or do you want to help buddy someone, or do you want to take this role on in this community, they're more than happy to step up. But if you say, you know, we'd like to help you, oh, I don't need help. And it's actually, we noticed that quite early on. It was quite an interesting sort of dynamic. I mean, I don't know why I ever thought they would want to help. But I think you tend to think people are aware of their situation and maybe are a bit stubborn because they don't want to get out of it. But it's actually the fact that they just don't want to be mollycoddled. I think in a lot of ways they want to actually be useful and be brought into society because they've got a use rather than because they're felt sorry for. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like I've always, if I draw up lists of triggers for mental health complications, you know, all the obvious ones, trauma, you know, an atypical event, condition, substance abuse, domestic abuse, blah, blah, blah. And like, I always bang loneliness on the list. And I think, I don't think, and it's because what you just described, I think, is brilliant. Cause it's like saying, actually, the best cure for loneliness is giving somebody purpose.
Yeah, totally. It's purpose. It's basically my granddad, before he passed away, would kind of be the guy. He used to work in the church for quite a long time, and they basically said to him, you can put the books out, you can be in charge of the kind of hymn books and putting chairs out and stuff. And he took so much pride in that, and it was so important to him to be there on time. And we've kind of been looking at this whole idea of kind of micro roles and things like that. We're not sure if it's something we'll end up using, but the fact that you can kind of utilize people in communities to help the community leaders to run stuff, perhaps, or
Amazing. And what's the but you said it's been pretty tough kind of trying to manage a brand new business.
I mean, I'm so glad we had the time together before we kind of got into the situation, because I think we could have very easily found ourselves in a space where we didn't really know each other very well, and we were suddenly working in 3 very separate places. And we know each other really well. We spent a lot of time together. We spent a lot of time together socially. We spent a lot of time getting to know each other and how we work. And we've kind of dissected everything about the way we work and how we can work together better. So actually being remote, it's okay. Like, it's not great, but it's okay. And I think we'd be in a much worse state if we hadn't spent that time getting to know each other at the start. Yeah.
And trying to work out if you like each other as well. That's always
I think they're fantastic. We're so different as people. I mean, the girl I work with, Mel, she's an ex-engineer, and Duncan is an ex kind of data scientist, kind of techie dude. And we just kind of work. We get each other socially and also in a work capacity, and it's really nice. We've got this fantastic team of volunteers now as well, who kind of join us for team tea on a Friday, and we'll get together and stuff. So it's really lovely.
Nice. Well, I'm super excited to volunteer or help out.
Thank you.
I wrote a question down here. I've got it written down where the spark of inspiration for More Human came from. Was there something, or was there not? Because obviously, as a group, you've kind of concepted the thing. Like, was there anything that kind of really sparked you to focus on loneliness? Not trying to.
No. I mean, all 3 of us will happily be open about the fact that we have all kind of suffered loneliness at points in our life. And I think loneliness is an incredibly weird thing, because you can feel lonely in a crowded room if you don't have your tribe with you, if you don't have the people that get you. And actually, I think when I was diagnosed, I felt very much like that until I met the people that had Parkinson's too. And I think that's been a really important learning curve for me. And I did something when we were kind of doing this project quite early on. I spent a weekend without my phone. I basically turned all the internet off in my house, and it sounds like a really short period of time, but I felt really lonely. And I just thought, actually, if people don't have technology, how are they coping with this? It must be incredibly hard. So that kind of taught me a lot. But yeah, I think all of us at some point have had moments where we felt alone, and I think that brought us together, really.
It's mad, isn't it? It's interesting how suddenly we rely on things that did not exist 20 years ago.
It's crazy, isn't
how
it?
reliant we are. And like, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Quite a lot of the kind of gunky stuff that goes on, and and it brings out the very worst in people. But at the same time, it brings out probably the very best in some people, and gives other people just somewhere to go and something to do. And yeah, it's mad, isn't it? I'm glad to find out that your inspiration for More Human was that. And as I wrote down here, not the American heavy metal band White Zombie, who had a song on their album Astro Creep called More Human. That was the answer I was expecting from you, but obviously not.
No, sadly not. We basically we wrote it on a post-it note one day, and I kind of kept it. And I at first, I'll be honest, I wasn't convinced about the name, and it's just grown on me. And I think the other two were convinced it was the right name, and they were so right. It kind of just suits everything we do, and it becomes, we hear the word human so much now all the time. We hear people saying more. Every sentence I say seems to have the word more human in without me meaning to, and it really sums up what we feel technology should be, and community should be, and they should be about people and friendships and connections and stuff like that, not about technology.
Brilliant. And also, again, like right now, 2020, the last 7 weeks, the next X months, I've kind of really, getting to your point, kind of amplified the fact that humans are pretty frail, and that there's more that binds us than divides us. I don't like COVID. Of course I don't like it, but I quite like the fact that it's not really, picked on that community over there, kind of, smashed us all. I know it's a bit of a morbid thing to say, so I don't mean it in a kind of twisted way. I just mean it's like everyone's affected.
Indiscriminate.
So that's kind of interesting. So I think humanity is certainly having its moment right now of realization, the great realization.
And I think the lovely thing about it shouldn't be lovely things about it, but there are, thank goodness. And I think
we can describe them like that. It's fine.
But I mean, like the kind of the community element of things, and just how, I've always been a big believer that there are more good than bad people in the world, but I know a lot of people struggle with that and think that, when you see all the stuff on the news, a lot of the time it's very hard to understand that or believe it. I think because we have the bad stuff forced into our faces all the time. But it's been so lovely to see all the good stuff on TV that people are doing, and to hear all the stuff people are doing in communities. And it's so nice to see that all the time now, to kind of get that sense of all the good people I knew were there. I knew they were there. They were maybe just getting on with doing other stuff. And all these kind of groups, as a coronavirus groups, the mutual aid groups that have sprung up are just incredible. I think the people that are doing that stuff is amazing. So all the volunteers.
Too true. Yeah. Have you been going out at 8 p.m. on a Thursday night doing the class?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
My dad keeps threatening to take his bagpipes out. He's got Irish bagpipes. He keeps threatening to go out with the bagpipes.
Don't encourage it. Get him out with the bagpipes. That's brilliant. I mean, it's a shame in some ways, and I know a lot of nurses and doctors and frontline health workers. It's a shame in some ways that it's taken this for us to appreciate them to the level that we are right now.
Oh, I know.
But also, there's something really nice about everyone just stepping outside their front door for
it's lovely
Thursday night and kind of
it's the practice carried on. It's just incredible.
It's good.
The thing that I'm finding really interesting is the fact that society's kind of shifted. Like, it used to be that people who were considered important were the people that maybe worked in kind of big bank firms or in kind of really high powered jobs that were considered high powered, and actually those people kind of just work from home now. I mean, they're like everyone else, and I think the important people now are bin men and people that deliver food, and the Waitrose delivery man. Suddenly they're like the heroes, and the NHS staff and the care staff, like they're the heroes of the world. And I just think, good on you guys.
Yeah, we had a cardo delivery at the weekend because we're middle class, and we managed to get it. It took us 3 weeks to get the delivery. And the guy, I had a lovely chat. I always have a lovely chat with the delivery guys. They're a nice bunch, and the ladies. And I said to him, you must have been really busy. And he said that he'd only been doing it for about 3 or 4 weeks, but he used to own and run a removal van company. And instead of kind of like, and this is back to your thing about purpose, obviously no one's moving house at the moment. So instead of furloughing all of his removal people, they've all stepped into, Ocado vans and deliver, food and stuff. And of course they're getting paid for it, so it's not a job, but I thought this is brilliant. He's taken the skill that they've got, which is
it's amazing,
picking stuff up and dropping it off, and just done it for food instead. So there you go.
I think the creativity that's come out of this is amazing as well. That's the other thing I'm really proud of as a country. I think we've been really creative and really kind of, in the way that we've thought about something, just got on with stuff, being very kind of just self kind of organizing, and I'm really proud of us for that.
Yeah, I will totally back you on that one. I think it's been amazing. More human feels like a totally different challenge for you. I mean, let's be honest, and we've talked about this a lot before in the past. Like, you cram a lot in. Like, you are a crammer.
I'm a crammer, yeah.
You've crammed a lot in, and you do kind of zig and zag.
Yes.
You know, even in the short few years that we've known each other, that you seem to have done a lot. Where's the like? Are you? Is this the thing now? Are you really excited about just kind of like, focus on this? This is it. This is the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still doing some work with Parkinson's UK. I'm still there, kind of doing devices and apps work, because that's really important to me to support that community. So I'm still doing that, but predominantly doing more human now, because actually I think you have to throw yourself into it and do it properly, give it your all. It's only fair on your co-founders, it's only fair on yourself to give it a proper shot. So I've never done anything like this before. It's intense. I mean, it's amazing that it's intense, and we have our ups and downs. We have moments of just sheer frustration and moments of just can't stop giggling because we're so happy. And I think I love that. It's such a. I mean, when I basically signed up to do it, I had a full-time job, and I thought, I'm basically going to be going on a program where I'm going to get paid a stipend, but I'm not going to earn a salary, and I'm going to potentially have no money when I come out the back of this, and my neck's like this. And I just thought, what do I, am I supposed to be doing this? And I just thought, oh, for God's sake, just do it. You're never going to, you don't do it now, you'll never do it. So I thought if I get on the program, then it's destiny. I'm supposed to do it. So, and I did get on the program. So I was like, I'm going to have to do it now. It's brilliant. I'm trying to roll it zinc down.
But that's the Emma that I know, right? So that's the Emma, like I feel like genuinely privileged to have kind of, put you, like, had you in my life in the last couple of years, because I just want to say, I'm not putting you up on a pedestal, and I'm going to be completely honest and say, like, I don't know if some of these things come from adversity, like revealing character, and people I know who've been through, mutual friends of ours, who've been through disability, even people who aren't anymore and stuff like that. But you just have this sense of optimism that is quite palpable, and also hugely inspiring. Where does that come from?
I think it's having support. I think actually knowing, I mean, my parents are kind of incredible people, and they just have been very much like, just we'll support you in whatever you want to do. And having that means you don't really feel like you can fail. And I think if you don't feel like you can fail, then you're just more likely to just try stuff. And I think I don't know. I mean, I've got a sense of the fact that actually I've got Parkinson's. There's not much I can do about that. And I think I either sit at home and get really annoyed about that and waste time and actually let it win, or I just get on with doing what I want to do. And it might be hard, but it's going to be hard if I'm at home doing nothing. So might as well be hard and I'm doing something fun. And I think I actually kind of learned from my dad in that respect. My dad basically is partially sighted, and he does so much more than he ever did before he had that diagnosis. And I think I just was really impressed with the way that he just took stuff on and just went, no, screw it, I'm gonna live the life that I want to live. And I was just really proud of him. And I thought that looks more fun than staying at home moaning.
Yeah. Well, and what sometimes drives me a bit mad is people who don't live with a chronic condition or a disability are quite often the people that should be cracking on and seizing that moment, and often sit around and let it kind of slip past. And
well, I think the thing is, sometimes if you don't, I mean, I may have been one of those people if this hadn't happened to me, and I think I think sometimes it takes something to actually put a bit of a rocket up your bum, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think
that's true. Well, it's good advice for everybody. I also have this in terms of cramming, we had some good nights last year. We had some tell us about last year's adventure, because I love this. And
am I allowed to swear? Can I swear on this, or do I just bleep it out?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. You can swear.
Okay. Sorry, everyone, for the swears, especially my dad if he's watching this. He hates swearing. So basically, last year I decided that I think I was probably drunk at some point, and I think I was in a tent at a festival with my friend Chris, who is a bit of an adventurer and kind of comes up with ridiculous things. And he said, we're kind of talking about things that I could do, and I said, I'm really annoyed that I spent kind of a lot of time this year just thinking, well, I'll do that when my neck's better. And then my neck's not getting better. So I thought, well, actually, maybe I should do something about it and do this stuff now. And then I think because I was drunk, I thought, well, let's do something every day, something new every day for a year. Because the year before, I'd basically done a video every day for a year. And I suddenly discovered that I like doing something every day and like putting pressure on myself and ridiculous targets. So I sent an email out to loads of companies basically saying, I'm doing this thing. Do you want to sponsor me with an event? And I had such an incredible response to it. I got all this kind of amazing free events, and basically I wrote a blog about it. So it's called The Fuck It List. So, but the web address is the f-itlist.com. Bit of a plug there.
I'm in it.
You are in there. You're famous. So yeah, basically, I kind of blogged about it last year, and you did some things for me, which is great. I love that, and I've done some things with all sorts of people that are important in my life, and it's incredible. I didn't get to 365 days because I basically started More Human, which is the biggest adventure of my life. So I think that can count for lots. And every day is something new with More Human at the minute. So it's I think that counts still. But I want to finish it after COVID. I've got like tons of things I'm really excited to do, and I want to finish the last, I think, 100 days, no, 80 days or something left. So it's like so close.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's great fun.
We can do a couple more, but we did virtual reality together. That was brilliant.
We did, yeah. That was cool.
Statue gallery. That was like really moving.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was really, really moving. It was really kind of like mad day. Brilliant.
It was me with my VR helmet on and like my neck brace trying to kind of walk around.
Again, I love the fact that we got there to the gallery for this kind of full immersive experience, and everyone's looking at Emma. Everyone's looking at you, going like, oh, I don't know if this is for you, and you're just like, stick it on my head, like my back. I'm going in. And
well, I could only see the floor for most of the things. It was a very beautiful floor, so I was fine with that.
Well, it was amazing. It was great, and I think
cool.
even those people that were organising it, it changed their perspective on what somebody with a condition like yours can do, and I think that's that's the purpose of it all as well, isn't it?
I've sent a lot of people that past year were away with a flea in their ear, of people who thought I couldn't do something or said I couldn't do something. They soon learned that I can.
Yeah, absolutely. We did an escape room as well. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. We were a bit terrible at that, though, weren't we?
Well, I think there were cocktails involved.
I think the cocktails didn't help, definitely.
And a slide, which
I couldn't go down.
So we didn't, but that was good. That was good fun. It was an AI themed escape room.
Yeah.
Cocktails.
Yeah.
Which is great. And they paired us up with two complete strangers.
We were suddenly like, why are we with this girl?
Anyway. No, I've got a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
I wasn't going to ask this one, and then you said we met like 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
You were on Big Life Fix. I knew a couple of the designers who then, hooked me up with one of the other people that were on the show, James, my dear James. And, it was that show, but also everybody involved in it, are all still like, everyone have this kind of good and purpose and sense of optimism and kind of, moving in a positive direction.
Yeah.
And like I said, I knew a couple of the designs before the show and stuff like that. One of the things that made me, and via kind of so and so who knew so and so who knew so and so, we got to know each other and stuff. One of the things that really struck me about that whole experience, and certainly my experience since meeting everybody, is that good really does attract. Like good, like positive is really a kind of a big positivity magnet. And it really gravitates towards people. Like, so you buy into that, right? So
I do, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I very much feel like, definitely my co-founders, I feel like we were kind of drawn together in a kind of a way that means I very much feel we were sort of meant to be together. But I think in life in general, I definitely very much feel that you do draw to people to your tribe, isn't it? It's the people that kind of feel like you don't even know they're like you until you sort of meet them, you start talking to them and you think, I've met people, I've got friends I've never met that I've met online that, I've got a friend in America who they're my closest friends and I love them to pieces because actually they mean so much to me, but I don't really ever see them. And I think that I just know they're my people, they're my tribe, they're kind of my group. Yeah. And I think I also very much believe in kind of vulnerability. I think vulnerability is a big draw for people. And I think I've discovered that since I've been in this situation, that actually I can sit in a room and probably be the maybe more noticeable person because of my situation and be quite quiet, but actually people will come and talk to me because I look a bit different, a bit interesting maybe perhaps. And I think I've had some conversations with some people that probably I never thought I'd chat to, CEOs of big corporations and stuff like that, who, people like you, people who come and chat to me who I just think, I feel like my vulnerability kind of attracts their vulnerability, and I get people are very honest and very open with me, and I've had some incredible discussions with people I never thought I'd have had those kind of discussions with, and they've really opened up to me, and I really value that. It's really important.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I think if the whole world spun in that circle a little bit more, like not deliberately, but you know, that kind of not natural flow of, you know, just be kind, just be good, like, tends to end well. To many interesting people. I just think, you know, probably be a nicer place, but you know, maybe again back to this kind of idea that COVID may very well have pushed people's health consciousness and social consciousness and kind of community consciousness like to the front, and our vulnerability. Maybe we come out the back of this with a little bit more of that.
I really hope so. I hope it's the thing that stays. I hope it's the thing that stays, that and the community feeling and stuff. I think I really hope it stays. And that feeling that, you know, the little man, you know, can do big things and change things. I think these COVID groups are really interesting, that, you know, suddenly people are kind of just, you know, just getting on with it, doing their own thing, self-organizing. I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah. Well, we've all got a job to do to keep those going as well. Do you know what I mean? You know, come September or whenever it is, and you know, we're
just all stop.
Some sort of normality, things stop. It's also, I tell you what else is giving me a real sense of, and I think I've got it from Charlie, my son, and certainly some other people I've been speaking to, and I want, you know, the world to also realize just things like football, right? Which, you know, we're season ticket holders. We go up to Crystal Palace. You know, we're mad football fans, but people really suffering because that community gives them stability every 2 weeks is not there. You know, vulnerable guys, quite a lot of them. You know, they've got suddenly they have a value of that 90 minutes every 2 weeks.
Totally.
It's going to be completely different when they go back, because it's not just a game of footy anymore. It's like all the people that they see every 2 weeks. It's like, you know, all of that sort of energy that you get out. So it's amazing. We kind of touched on mental health, actually. It's always on my mind, no pun intended. But I do, and like I mentioned, I do worry about the well-being of people who've lost their communities or their support groups or their kind of, you know, the things that keep them stable. Is there anything that you do that stops your mood dipping? It's not a trick question. You can say no, but is there have you got, like, little tips or tricks?
Yeah, I have one trick, well, a couple of tricks actually. So my first trick is I try to do this. I'm not doing it so much at the minute because I'm not sleeping so well, so it's a bit harder in the morning. But when I'm at home normally, I have a playlist that I put on in the morning, and then I dance, like full body dance for like every muscle in my body for like about 10 minutes in the morning. And you can't start a day badly that starts like that. You literally, it's just like, and then I try and wear bright colours as much as possible, because I think it's very easy to, when I got diagnosed with Parkinson's, it was like I just wanted to wear grey and hide and just disappear, and I didn't want anyone to notice I was there, because then you realise actually a shaky girl is going to always get noticed, so you might as well get noticed for having pink hair and wearing sequins. So I just realised that actually there was no way I was going to be able to shy away. I was going to have to just own it, and so I started wearing brighter colours, and I just embrace that now, I think, a little bit. So that you can't be sad when you're wearing like a bright green jumper and you've got pink hair. I think everyone expects you to smile when you've got pink hair. You can't look moody.
I'll get some blue Vala jumpers. Me sitting here in black.
I've got navy on. I'm not exactly bright coloured. I've got pink hair.
You've got the hair.
Yeah, and I've got a turquoise belt on. You just can't see that.
Yeah, you got, you know, like, I think you always your hair always looks immaculate and amazing. I think the one thing that's amusing me at the moment, speaking of hair, is like, I think guys probably more than ladies, and I'm not casting like a wide aspersion here, but like our COVID haircuts.
Quite funny, aren't they? My mum did my dad's the other day.
It's just, and actually, you can be on a Zoom with somebody really important, and they're looking as rough as you, and you're going, like, it's fine.
I had to do my roots the other day because they were one of the volunteers that I've been working with said, "I didn't know your hair was pink when I dyed it," and I was like, "God, has it been that bad?" They said everyone see the purple, but like the dark brown.
What's your natural hair colour? I don't know.
Kind of mousy brown.
Right, interesting. We've known each other that long, and I wouldn't know what.
It's naturally this colour.
Very good, very good. Right, go on. Give me one interesting thing that we wouldn't know about you from your biography and your.
Apparently about the ball gowns.
Well, I've done that one. Tell me something.
I've actually always wanted to be an actress. That was the thing that I wanted to be, and I'm actually a trained drama teacher. So basically, I was always going to go into acting when I was younger. That was the thing that I loved. I was obsessed with it, and I did all my kind of exams and everything to basically become a teacher, and then just gave it up. I did my drama school auditions, everything. That was exactly what I was going to be, and then I just fell in love with graphic design. So I could be a very niche actor if I was an actor right now. I'd probably be playing all the Parkinson's roles, which is not a huge amount of. Or cold people. If there's a lot of cold people, I could be that. But
I don't know. It could have been. Yeah, you're right. It's a bit of
I'd probably have a slightly limited, quite typecast career, wouldn't I? Really?
exactly. Casualty and Holby City.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Like, okay, so we've got a couple of minutes, and then we got to wrap up because I told the team I would like we could literally chinwag. Incidentally, we were overdue a kind of a pub catch up at some point, so this has kind of been it. What's next for Emma Lawton? Give me kind of like a year's view. What do you hope is going to happen in the next year?
More Human hopefully really kind of finds its niche and really helps a lot of people. I feel like we've helped a lot of people already without actually meaning to. We kind of wanted to help people and we didn't realise how impactful our first kind of few months would be. So just really kind of trying to make a kind of a splash in that sense. Personally, to kind of be back in London would be great. I think, I kind of miss my home. I love being here, but I kind of miss being in London. But I think, probably just really focusing on More Human and seeing what we can do with it. I just think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be stressful and quite scary, but I know I'm doing it with the right people, so it's not that terrifying.
And what can we all do to support it and you on that adventure? Is there anything that you need from people? Is there anything that's kind of particularly pressing that you need help, support, volunteers?
If anyone wants to give us money, that's always nice. Yeah, we'll obviously be looking for kind of to raise some kind of money this year, so that's great. I mean, I can give you the web link in a minute, but basically we're also looking for kind of communities to help. So if anyone's kind of running a community that, if it kind of deals with older people, more the better, but actually anyone can be struggling at a time like this. So if you're kind of a community leader or you kind of an accidental community leader, you didn't realise you were going to be one, then, kind of get in touch because we might be able to help you with the stuff we're doing and it'd be great to talk to you. Anyone that's doing anything kind of interesting in behavioural science around kind of friendship and things like that, loneliness. So that's probably the main things really, but anyone that's kind of interested, have a look at more-human.co.uk.
more-human.co.uk. Amazing. I've got 2 questions that someone sent me. There you go. It's the internet.
Someone is watching.
We've had people popping in and out. It's all good. So somebody's asked me when you're going to find the time to write another book, because the one
I get that asked that a lot. Actually, that's a really nice question. Yeah, I do want to write another one, but I want to give it enough time, and I also want to write something that I wanted to write about travelling with Parkinson's a couple of years ago, but I haven't done enough travelling over the last kind of year to warrant that. So I'm kind of looking what to write about. But I will find something. I do love writing still. I get to write a lot for More Human, which is really good. So
nice. And the other question I had was somebody asked, kind of, is there anything that you have been doing? And I think you may have answered it with a kind of dancing thing. Like, is there anything that you've been doing over the kind of since the business started that's keeping you kind of like business fit? So is there anything? I think the question is around kind of, are you having to kind of learn new things? Are you trying to,
because I think I don't come from a business background. I've always come from kind of like a hustler sort of background. I've always done things by myself. And so team working is a real challenge to me, because I think even when I've worked in companies, I've never really been a team person. I've always been the kind of outlier that does stuff on their own and kind of mucks in with the team ever so often. So working with the team has been a real challenge, but they are such fantastic people that it's great. I love it. And I think we really have to we've had to learn to be really honest with each other. And I'm not very good at that kind of brutal kind of like, quite stark honesty sometimes, but it's really good and it's really important when you're co-founding with people. It's like being married, as you will know. Yeah.
Well, you have more time with these people than you probably at home with your family.
Exactly. Anyway. So I think that, but I think also just trying to do other things. So like while I've been here, I've become completely obsessed with watercolors. I painted like 4 watercolors a day at the moment. I'm averaging quite. I'm going to raffle them all off for charity, I think, in the end, because I've got too many of the damn things. But
that's amazing. Oh, well, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those as well.
Yeah, I thought I'd send you some.
Shaped watercolours. I mean, it's a whole.
It's basically me and my tremor painting together. I'm referring to it as Emma and Tremor. So my Parkinson's paints part of it, and I plant the rest. By Parkinson's is donating its half to Parkinson's UK. I'm keeping my half. So that's the way we're working it.
Oh, I love it. That's such a lovely note to end on as well. I, for one, will be buying one of your. Shaky Emma pictures. It will be proudly presented on a wall somewhere in our house.
Thank you.
Honestly, thanks for your time. I'm so excited about More Human and seeing it evolve and grow. And it's also been it's a bit weird saying this to you because you're like my mate, but it's been a genuine joy getting to know you over the last couple of years.
Oh, thank you.
I think our first proper date was in a wet car park in Brick Lane, which we don't even have time to talk about now, and it's not as sleazy. It's not as sleazy as it sounds.
No, it's definitely not.
A health conference that was cold and damp.
Quite damp, yeah.
But ever since then, I think genuinely, it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish the world had more Emmas in it, and I think more humans can be huge.
I hope so.
I'm gonna wrap up. That's the end of our second episode of Co-Videos. Got some absolute blinders coming up. I think anyone that's watched, will watch, has watched, will know it's just me having a casual chat with my mates, basically, and kind of slipping a bit of business in there as well. If we can do business and chat to our mates, then there's no point really, is there? Right. You, young lady, go and take care of yourself and enjoy isolation if it's possible. And when you're back in London, and we'll go on a 2-meter isolation walk.
We have tattoos, don't we? Remember?
Oh yeah, we're going to get tattoos. That was part of the bucket list as well. So we've still got to do that, and we'll do that when you get back to London.
Yeah.
Emma Lawton, thank you very much.
Thank you, Pete.
Take care of yourself.